Episode 6, The Fish Islands and the Antarctic Circle. February 25th, 2024. As Hondius sailed along the peninsula last night, high winds forced our expedition staff to consider alternative landing points. After deliberation with our captain, they decided to venture into uncharted waters. Yes, literally uncharted waters. I know it's kind of hard to believe when we have people in literal space, but a lot of our own oceans here on planet Earth are still uncharted, especially in places like Antarctica, where few people pass through. This far south, there is a narrow 2 to 3 month window in which ships can easily sail before the ice freezes in for the long polar winter. I never thought I'd get the chance to say that I was on a boat in uncharted waters. Boarding the Zodiacs this morning felt like a different kind of adventure. A true exploratory mission. Just us for miles and miles in this barren landscape. Our destination today is the Fish Islands, and we have the entire morning to explore them. Today is 6 degrees colder than yesterday. The further we go south, the more apparent the chill becomes. Besides the temperature, the scenery has also changed. While the land is still mountainous, the number of icebergs has increased exponentially. This is, of course, because we are getting closer to the large glaciers these guys break off of in the far south. Not only are the icebergs more numerous, they're also bigger, dwarfing not only our Zodiacs, but Hondius as well. Their colors are otherworldly and highly varied. Some are clear, some are white, some are the brightest blue I've ever seen, and some have mixtures of all three. Some of them look glossy, some are matte, some have stripes, and other crazy patterns. The bergs are all unique, each one distinct from the last like a snowflake. We play games looking for familiar shapes in them, like we all did when we were kids with the clouds. We cruise around for quite a while, stopping along the way to view any interesting bergs, some cormorants, and several small Adelie penguin colonies, a new species for us. Then we get great news. Our Zodiac captain and one other one are going to make an impromptu landing on Mackerel Island. There are 10 passengers on each Zodiac, plus the 2 drivers, which means that only the 22 of us are stepping foot on land in this special spot. Since the Fish Islands are in uncharted waters, Antarctic tourism hardly ever reaches them. Even so, the weather and geography of the area makes landings particularly difficult. We are certainly the only ones on Mackerel Island that year. Perhaps the only ones ever. All of the Fish Islands have only received about 430 recorded visitors ever. It is an amazing feeling to say that I have been someplace maybe only 20 other people have ever been. It is one of my favorite moments of the trip. On land, we enjoy an Adelie penguin colony, which is my first close-up with these guys. Their bright blue eyes make them stand out among the other penguins. Later, we watch raw nature in action, as a skua swoops in and steals a tiny penguin chick. The skua flies over to a rock on the same island, where we see its nest holding its own chick. That's the circle of life for you. As I mentioned before, this site is difficult to land at, and that difficulty rears its ugly head as we board the Zodiacs and back away from shore. Some large boulders under the water snag on the underside of our Zodiac. We try forward, we try backward, we try forward again. But it's no use. We're stuck. The other Zodiac driver wades out to us, and we spend about 10 minutes rocking back and forth, pushing and pulling and moving inch by tiny inch until finally we are free. Out of the danger zone, we stop and wait for the other zodiac. Zodiacs are always supposed to travel in pairs, and from my experiences so far, there's a reason for it. As their zodiac is boarding, an older man slips on the rocks and tumbles into the sea. He goes fully underwater, an unplanned polar plunge in full gear. His life jacket deploys, floating him on his back while other passengers and the zodiac driver grab him and get him back on his feet. Unbelievably, several people in my boat try to take pictures of him while he's laying in the water. So rude. We obviously had to return to Hondius immediately to warm him up. His bald head looked very cold on the way back. Back on the ship, we once again indulge in tea and hot chocolate to warm up as Hondius continues her navigation south. The Antarctic Circle is in sight. If you are unfamiliar, the Antarctic Circle is a latitude line. It marks the point where the sun will be up for a full 24 hours for at least one day in the summer, and there will be total darkness for at least one full day in the winter. Since we have some time until we get there, Judy and I head up to the bridge of the ship for the first time. Here we observe the ship's operations in action. Gone are the days of a captain at the helm with just a compass and some maps to help him navigate. Everything is digital and complicated. I find this very interesting and spend a large chunk of time watching and learning what the different graphs and numbers mean on the many screens. They even have radar for icebergs up here. While we are up here, Judy meets her crush of the trip, Nino. He's the first officer on board, so she makes me take pictures with him so that she can without feeling dumb. Next, I go to a lecture on the race to the South Pole between Scott and Amundsen. This is a lesser-told tale of great endurance and perseverance. These men traveled over 1,400 nautical miles across the unforgiving landscape of the Antarctic to reach the pole. Both were successful, but only one man's party made it back to the ship. The other suffered unimaginable hardship and perished along with his team. If you're interested in this story, I highly recommend this book that I read on the ship. It's an excellent adventure tale, and the history is super interesting as well. Soon, the captain lets us know that we will be crossing the Antarctic Circle. Everyone heads out on deck to the bow of the ship, where the wind is whipping at 60 miles an hour. It is freezing out, but no one cares. The last huge milestone of the trip is upon us. At 5:30 p.m., we cross the circle. The ship blasts its horn, deafening us as we all whoop and cheer. We've done it. Now, it's time to party and take pictures. The staff hand out what soon becomes the drink of the voyage, rum and hot chocolate with a generous helping of whipped cream. It's delicious and takes away some of the cold burn from the wind. We take photos with different crew members, and I even get my picture with a flag someone brought along. It is a very special time, and I take a few moments by myself to enjoy the scenery and remind myself that I'm actually here right now, south of the Antarctic Circle. One of the first ships to accomplish this feat this season. Just crossed the Antarctic Circle. Later, I have dinner with Judy and Bill. We call him Arnie because he bears a striking resemblance to Arnold Schwarzenegger, but he doesn't seem to mind. As we drift off to sleep tonight, we look forward to a landing beneath the circle and what other new adventures tomorrow will bring.